What's going on, everybody? It's your boy GemMint, and I'm here with an all-Marvel Omnibus haul. We've got some stuff that came out over the last few weeks and a couple of pre-release books. We're going to start with jumping into the Nam Omnibus. The Nomnibus! Let's check it out. All right, so here we go. The Nam, 1966 to 1969. This is the Ron Frenz direct market variant, and then you also have the standard cover as well. This one featuring the Marvel characters. Obviously, you got the Avengers. Then you got that big boy spine with the camo, the Nam, and then on the back here. So this one collects issues 1 through 45 plus material from Savage Tales 1 and 4. You've got Doug Murray, Chuck Dixon, Michael Golden, Wayne Vasan, and John Severin, along with Sam Glanzman and Pepe Moreno, retailing $125. Parental advisory on this one. Great art on the back of the dust jacket. The inside of the dust jacket talking about the Nam comic book series, giving us a biography on the creators. And then you have the wraparound cover here. Great art, man. You really get a lot of emotion out of the art here. Look at this guy. Clean babyface soldier in Vietnam. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So the Nam comic book series, this is not something that I grew up reading. It was never really on my radar. I remember seeing it going through back issues and such. Here's a nice credits page and the table of contents. But it never really interested me. I was never really like a war comic guy, but I did read the introduction. I flipped through this book and I kind of got it after seeing what it was all about. So here's some material from Savage Tales where you first get the Nam stuff. Incredible artwork, black and white, real rugged stuff. And then we jump into issue 1 of its own series. I like how, again, we get the cover as it was initially released, and this is the cover for the dust jacket on that standard cover. But yeah, man, hard-hitting stuff. You know, you have characters that become developed. You have characters that die. As you can see with the artwork, it is beautiful. And you get the whole run, man. Every single cover, every page, and just some hard-hitting stuff. I flipped through this, and I started reading like all the introduction stuff, all the stuff at the end, right before I moved. So just flipping through right now again. But yeah, the covers are great. Not really like a war comic guy, like I said, but I could definitely see myself getting lost in this. What do you guys think about Nam? Is this stuff that you grew up with reading? Digging the art. Let's see what's going on as far as the bonus material. So you got the Nam notes, a glossary. That's pretty cool. Some slang terms from on the battlefield. So an excerpt from Marvel Age. Here's some cool stuff here. Some designs. Some glossary page art. You got some house ads. Nam magazine covers, which reprinted the issues. Yeah, so Nam magazine 1 through 10 reprinted issues 1 through 20 in black and white. So very cool that they preserved all this stuff, some pinups in the back. So I get it. I could see why this was a thing. It just was never on my radar. I was always more of a superhero comics guy. But very cool stuff. And nice to have it all collected in one book. Original art and covers. Annie Kubert. All right, before we jump into the Namor Sub-Mariner Omnibus, we got to give a shout out to Organic Price Books. But scratch that, they've rebranded. They're now Panelbound Comics. So if you're looking to pick up any Omnis or collected editions, check out Panelbound Comics. Same great company, same owners, same discounted prices, bomb-proof packaging, and fast shipping. And you can still use the same code GemMint to save $2 on every order. Big shout out to the old Organic Price Books, now Panelbound Comics. With that being said, let's jump into the Sub-Mariner. From Nam to Namor. So this is the direct market variant, which is the cover for Tales to Astonish 84. The standard cover, though, I actually like more. It's issue 1 from Prince Namor, the Sub-Mariner. I always like it when the cover of the omnibus is issue 1 from the comic that's in it. But here you have Namor, Hulk. Here goes the spine. It's a volume 1. Stan Lee, Roy Thomas, Jack Kirby, and more. And then here we have all of the issues it collects. So this is basically volume 1 of the Silver Age Namor, which he first appears in Fantastic Four issue 4. Then he's in 6, 9, 14, 27, 33. Then Annual 1, you got Strange Tales 107 and 125, Avengers 3 and 4, X-Men 6, Daredevil 7, Tales to Astonish 70 through 101, Tales of Suspense 79 and 80, Iron Man and the Sub-Mariner 1, the Sub-Mariner issue 1, and then material from the Not Brand Ech 1, 4, and 9. So you only get the first issue from his ongoing series, but you get everything that leads up to it. $125 cover price. As always, on the left, giving us a little synopsis of where we're at with the character and the run, biography on the creators, including Gene Colan and Bill Everett. The hardcover has that Sub-Mariner trade dress from issue number 1, same design on the spine, although you get Namor on the bottom there with the red background instead of underwater. And then Prince Namor himself on the back. So kind of interesting that they released this now. The other Namor Omnibus is the one by John Byrne and Jay Lee. So they kind of did a more modern run, and now we're here collecting all of the Silver Age appearances leading up to his own series. I'd love to see that with the white background. It's pretty cool, actually. So all the credits, table of contents. Wow, that looks really good, actually. Really well designed. Ralph Macchio giving a recent introduction, and then boom, FF4, which is collected in Volume 1 of the Fantastic Four. So this acts kind of like a compilation, character-driven omnibus, just focusing on the Namor stuff. So if you're a big fan of the character, that would make sense. For me, I don't know if it's really worth double dipping. I kind of like having all the FF Omnis, although there's no Tales to Astonish or Strange Tales Omnis yet, right? All right, so you get the idea with this. Fantastic Four Annual. This book was taken off. It was pretty hot when the Wakanda Forever movie was coming out. Then Avengers 3. Here's Avengers 4. So Cap's first Silver Age appearance. All the Tales of Suspense stuff. I wonder if other Omnis collect that, right? The Hulk Omnibus should have a lot of that Tales to Astonish. Actually, let's check it out right now. So Tales to Astonish 59 through 101. And this one has 70 through 101. So yeah. A big double dip with FF1 and Hulk 1. With that being said, let's see what they gave us as far as bonus material. Here's Not Brand Ech. House ads. Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Original pages by Jack Kirby and Dick Ayers. Some more original art. Or I guess I should say original pages. Original splash page pinup from that Fantastic Four Annual. Dang, first cover, John Buscema with Sol Brodsky. House ads, Human Torch cover, iconic battle between water and fire. Right, here we have some reprint covers. '90s Namor from the X-Men cover. Nice wraparound cover here. Nice pinup of Sub-Mariner. And there we go. All right, guys, these next two X-Men Omnis are kind of funny because we have the beginning of an era and then the end of an era. Let's start with the beginning with the all-new X-Men by Brian Michael Bendis. All right, what we have here is the direct market variant with the Alex Ross painted cover, which I love. The standard cover is issue number 1 from All New X-Men, so I kind of like that one as well. This is a tough one to choose on which dust jacket cover. Always liked this whole series. What was this, like the Marvel 75th anniversary covers or something? You got that kind of baby blue spine there. Brian Michael Bendis, Asrar and Imonen on the art as well. Got Magic and Kitty Pryde. Then jumping on the back, so this collects issues 1 through 15, and then 18 through 41, plus Guardians of the Galaxy 11 through 13, another $125 Omni. Inside of the dust jacket, highly original X-Men. So this is the run where the X-Men go back in time and team up with their original Silver Age counterparts. Here's the biography on Bendis, Asrar, and Imonen. Wraparound cover with Jean Grey seeing all of her history, all the things that she will do, and the realization that she becomes Phoenix, then Dark Phoenix, and destroys planets. That was pretty heavy stuff. I have a soft spot for this run because this was around the time when I decided to get back into reading single issues, and I was going back into the comic shop, and boom, we get a new jumping on point for X-Men. So here you have the credits, everyone who contributed to all the issues. And then boom. So that wraparound cover, old team, new team. Some controversy with this run, but I was a fan of it. It could be a little bit of bias for just me getting back into comics, and a couple of great runs were going on around that time, like Dan Slott's Spidey and Rick Remender Venom. This is where Cyclops gets his powers start acting wonky, and he gets the crazy optic blasts that are out of control. All new X-Men 4. So you get the Virgin covers prior to the issues. It's been a long time. I haven't read this since they came out in single issues. So here we go, looking at the original team, going back into the past, tapping them, Beast meeting his future self, or vice versa. The art is good during this run, and I like Bendis' stuff. Angel, man, he's another one. The X-Men have been through so much shit, so imagine going back and telling them like everything that's going to happen. It goes some Mystique action. Bobby Drake had a lot of character changes, obviously. Stuff that was hinted at and like foreshadowed in 90s runs and such. But yeah, the art is great here, man. Yeah, Uncanny Avengers. I remember this stuff too. There's actually a whole omnibus for Uncanny Avengers. So I dug this stuff. This one's a keeper for me. I definitely like all new X-Men. I like Bendis. And you get the whole run. Now, I don't know why they didn't include those other issues. I have to look in to see, why that is, but Soft Iceman, Snowman, Iceman. Oh, yeah, this is when Angela gets brought into the Guardians, and she comes from Spawn lore. But the whole thing with Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane, she ends up with Marvel. Got some Gladiator stuff here, some Cosmic stuff. A little bit of gutter loss in that double-page spread. Yeah, but cool omnibus. Let's see, what do we get for bonuses? It looks like there's a good chunk of it in the back here. Here's the cover for 41. Of course, you get the wraparound cover with all three covers. Yeah, because it's X-Men 1 and then 2 connects with it. Another wraparound connecting cover. Yeah, there was a ton of variants for this. Scotty Young, Deadpool, Photobomb, old and new characters. Pretty cool to see. Yeah, this was the 12 X-Men 50th anniversary variant covers. They interlocked to create a giant poster. That's dope. Action figure variant. I think I had that. Phil Noto magazine style cover. Oh, Andrea Sorrentino. All right, so this is what the script. Yeah, so you got a lot of bonus material with this one as well. A lot of bang for your buck in this Omni.
If you guys missed out on any of those San Diego Comic-Con exclusives, look no further than that Spider-Man booth on Whatnot. They've got the Invincible Universe Battle Beast exclusive by Ryan Ottley, the Marvel Swimsuit Special by Rose Besh, and they even got that rare Jim Lee Hush 2 black and white cover. Make sure to bookmark that Spider-Man booth's upcoming shows and give them a follow.
The rise and then the fall. We have the fall of X, the end of the Krakoa era. Let's check it out. All right, everybody's favorite era, the Krakoa era. There's actually 3 different variants for this omnibus. This is one of the direct market variants. Then you've got the standard cover. And then you have the Pepe Larraz direct market variant too, which is like a horizontal cover. This one wraps around. You can see here Professor X, Cyclops, kind of like a half wrap. And then what does this collect, man? So it's Fall of X 1 through 5, Rise of the Powers of 10 1 through 5, X-Men 30 through 34, and some material from 35 from the Hickman run, Resurrection of Magneto 1 through 4, Dead X-Men 1 through 4, X-Men Forever 1 through 4, then Invincible Iron Man 13 through 20, Avengers 12 and 13, Ms. Marvel Mutant Menace 1 through 4, and then Cable 1 through 4 from the 2024 mini. Another $125 Omni. Pretty cool on the inside of the dust jacket where they have this like peach interior. It's almost like you can turn it inside out. The full shocking conclusion of the Krakoan age. So talking about that on the dust jacket, giving us a biography on the creators, Jerry Dugan, Al Ewing, Steve Fox, Kieran Gillen, Jed McKay, Fabian Nicieza, and a ton of others, as you can see. All the Krakoa hardcovers have like this textbook design to it. So Fall of the House of X, Rise of the Powers of 10. Nice deep red cover page here, big X. Here's all the credits on all these different minis. So yeah, they very thematic with the Krakoa stuff. Looks like Fall of X1, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, here we go. So that was a little prelude leading up to it. So the Trial of Cyclops. I'm not sure how much of this I actually read, man. I was following everything when the Krakoa era came out. Powers of, with House of X, Powers of 10. I was reading that, and then I was reading every single series that came out. But along the way, I started dropping one title after another. Some Nimrod stuff. So I don't know how far I got through here. Looks kind of crazy. You got Mr. Sinister here. I haven't heard actually great things about this, to be honest. A lot of people were upset, I believe, with how much this double dips with an oversized hardcover. So I guess that was a thing. But if you're an omnibus collector, you were waiting out for the Omni anyway. I don't think they ever made an omnibus out of House of X Powers of 10. That was an oversized hardcover as well. Gotta tell you, flipping through, I mean, the art looks pretty decent. If you didn't like the Krakoa era, you might love the fall of the Krakoa era. Cyclops with Professor X. I hope did they ever address what was his deal with this big helmet and everything? All right, so that's pretty gnarly, actually. I always thought this character was going to be a bigger character as well. Was it like Rasputin 7 or something like that? Was introduced in Powers of 10, and I just feel like it really didn't go anywhere. Here's the Iron Man tie-in stuff. Doctor Doom stuff. So, I mean, you get a lot of material. Apocalypse. That's pretty cool. Storm going through all her iterations. Yeah, I haven't really heard great things about the Fall of X. You guys let me know in the comments below. Taking a quick look at it. Let's see what it collects in the back. The Mark Brooks connecting cover, some Scotty Young stuff. All right, so this is the dust jacket for this omnibus. See if we can find the others. Bunch of variants here. Nimrod cover looks cool. Now look at this little trading card style. Trading card variants. That's dope. All right, and after the covers, that's it. All right, guys, on to the early stuff. So we have one of the Art of Marvel Studios for the Thunderbolts movie, which I wasn't really looking forward to. I was like, who asked for this movie? Plus, it's these versions of the characters, but saw the movie like most of us, and I really enjoyed it, especially what it means for the future of the MCU. Let's flip through the art book, which does have a slipcase. All right, so the Art of Thunderbolts. This comes out on September 9th. It does have a slipcase like I showed you guys, so here's a look at that. Sentry on the back, nothing on the top. This one retails $100. All right, let's see. What does it contain? You got, as always, like these prints. So here's the whole team. Saving Yelena, fighting with each other from in the beginning, and then, of course, fighting Sentry. It's pretty cool, too. So you get those art prints with this little kind of folder. Then here's the art on the actual cover. The Thunderbolts themselves. Asterisk, the new Avengers. So I guess, we're far out of spoiler territory, but I thought that was so cool. I didn't see it coming. And it makes so much sense because leading up to Secret Wars, that's what you had. You had the new Avengers simultaneously with the Avengers. And that's what they're kind of setting up with this movie, that this is going to be like the government-sanctioned Avengers. And they're going to be going up against the Sam Wilson, the Captain America's Avengers. So here goes a forward. Thunderbolts assemble. So all the different designs for Yelena. We're not going to go through this whole thing. It'll take too long. But then you have Red Guardian, Alexei, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Elaine Bennis. So if you're a fan of the movies, these art books, they've got one for every movie. What's funny is we just moved, and I recently found one that I have for Into the Spider-Verse. So, yeah, they did it for X-Men 94 as well, or X-Men 97, is it? Spider-Man 94, X-Men 97. So all these different design concepts for the characters for the movie, the climb from that part in the movie. the Watchtower. I thought that was a great nod too, like the scenery for this movie taking place in New York at the old Avengers Tower. Sentry was dope. I really like how they did Sentry. They went pretty comic accurate with the outfit. And the fact that they fought where the Avengers fought Loki from the first Avengers movie, I really like that nod. It felt like, okay, this movie is important. It does matter. It takes place in the same, obviously the same universe, but the same building at the same time. All right, so that's cool. We don't need to go through the whole thing, but the Marvel Studios Art of Thunderbolts coming out September. All right, the next pre-release, we've got the Doctor Strange Omnibus by Jed McKay, featuring recently released content. This stuff was just in floppies not too long ago, including Death of Doctor Strange. So let's take a look at how they package this in the Omni format. All right, guys, so this is the standard cover, beautifully painted by Alex Ross, and then there is a Stephanie Hans direct market variant as well. This one is scheduled to come out on September 23rd. Got the white spine, Jed McKay. You got Garbett, Ferreira, and Ferry. The back of the dust jacket, retailing $100, collecting Death of Doctor Strange 1 through 5. Then you have Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Strange 1 through 10, and Doctor Strange 1 through 18. So this is when we have the whole Death of Doctor Strange, and then Clea becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. So material from 2022 up until, I want to say, like 2024 when that Strange run ended. So here's the synopsis telling us what's going on with this story. Again, with Clea mourning her husband, trying to find out who killed him as she takes on his responsibilities. So it's Jed McKay with Lee Garbett, Marcelo Ferreira, and Pasquale Ferry. You got some trippy astral plane wraparound cover art on the hardcover. Interior pages, got like a peach color. All right, nice art here. Doctor Strange, all the credits / table of contents. Oh, look at this. Opens up Strange Day. So this was a run that I did read as it was coming out. Oh, yeah, his dead ghost dog. I don't think I finished reading this run, but I definitely read Death of Doctor Strange, and then I started reading the Strange run with Clea as the Sorcerer Supreme. I really liked it. If I recall, I was reading this when I was doing my weekly comic book day reviews a few years back, and I remember like really digging this series with her as Strange. She was definitely cutthroat. She wasn't anything to be played with. The art is good. First of all, the covers are great. Little Kari action there. I don't remember, and good thing because, this way I don't spoil it. I don't remember who was responsible for the death of Strange. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I think I do kind of remember, but yeah, we'll keep it spoiler free. But yeah, it was a great run, and then she takes over, and I don't think I read the stuff where he comes back. I think I stopped reading single issues at that time, so this might be a good opportunity to wrap that up, to revisit it a little bit. Jed McKay is a great writer. The Moon Knight stuff, he's still doing Moon Knight right now, even though they released an omnibus of his original stuff. But if you like Doctor Strange, this one is coming out in September. So we do get the cover, virgin covers before each issue. A lot of great Alex Ross stuff. Marvel's had Alex Ross working, man. I feel like ever since Immortal Hulk, he's been putting out a lot of covers. Speaking of a lot of covers, first of all, Joe Jusko 1992. But let's see what variants they have in the back for us. Jed McKay gives an afterwards after issue 18. So here we go. Scotty Young. Here's some more Stephanie Hans, Mike Del Mundo, R.B. Silva, Todd Knock. Some In-Hyuk Lee, Doom cover, Magic. Kind of a Strange Tales 110 homage. Some Stanley Artgerm as Clea Supreme. So a good amount of variants in the back. More Scotty Young. Alex Ross Timeless cover for Dormammu. Yeah, so cool stuff. New Doctor Strange Omni. Is that it? Just these covers? Yeah, the ghost dog was a nice touch. More Scotty Young. A lot of Scotty Young in these Omnis in this video, right? Also, some character sketch designs. And there you go. And the last one, they've made a couple of Jean Grey Phoenix Omnis, and this is the death and rebirth of Jean Grey Phoenix. Early look, let's check it out. All right, y'all, last book of the haul. This is scheduled to be released on September 16th. This is your standard cover, and then there is a Jim Lee direct market variant, man, so be on the lookout for the Jim Lee cover. This is a big boy omnibus, another white spine, nice Phoenix logo, Jean Grey on the bottom here. You do have Virgin covers of all the comics that it collects on the back. So Fire and Life Incarnate. So this collects X-Men 128, then 139 through 141, and 146 through 154 from the new X-Men series from 2001. You get X-Men Phoenix End Song 1 through 5, X-Men Phoenix War Song 1 through 5, Avengers vs. X-Men 0 through 12. Then you get Jean Grey 1 through 11 from 2017, Generation Phoenix and Jean Grey, Phoenix Resurrections, The Return of Jean Grey 1 through 5, and material from Point 1, Issue 1 from back in 2011. $150 cover price on this bad boy. So the other Jean Grey Omnis were the original Phoenix saga, and this is all the stuff that takes place after the follow-up. You have Jason Aaron with Bendis, Brubaker, Matt Fraction, Jonathan Hickman, Dennis Hopeless, Grant Morrison, Greg Pak, a lot of great creators here. Phil Jimenez, Tyler Kirkham, Adam Kubert, Greg Land, John Romita, Mark Silvestri. Here's the art on the actual hardcover, this big Phoenix with little Jean, same spine, and then another Phoenix image on the back. All right, so we got some black cover pages. Death and Rebirth of Jean Grey. Here's all the credits. Starting with New X-Men with issue 128. Yeah, so the New X-Men Omnibus is 114 through 154, so it does double dip with that a little bit, but then there's a bunch of other stuff that has not been collected. Little, what is that, Terminator homage. Continuing with New X-Men, which I did read. I actually really enjoyed New X-Men and the follow-up Astonishing X-Men. So the Magneto Superior storyline is what's collected here. And it ends where the New X-Men Omnibus stuff ends. All right, so here's New X-Men 50. So it looks like a good chunk of that is it, actually. I haven't read these Phoenix miniseries, the End Song and War Song. I'm not even sure when these came out, actually. I mentioned it collects the entire Avengers vs. X-Men, so that is also a big double dip with an omnibus dedicated to that. The thing with that omnibus is it has like the AVX stuff, which is like more of the entire battle. So this is just the main story of Avengers vs. X-Men. Of course, Phoenix plays a huge role in that, right? Because that's the whole Phoenix Force, the Phoenix Five, where she can't control her powers and it gets dispersed amongst the 5 X-Men. So this is definitely like a compilation omnibus. You know, this is more for either the completionist or somebody who's just a big fan of X-Men books or Jean Grey Phoenix books, because we already have 2, pretty substantial double dips with New X-Men and AVX. But you get the End Song and the War Song, so that's 10 new issues that I don't believe are collected. And then the Jean Grey series, issues 1 through 11, which is pretty dope to have as well. Then, of course, the Phoenix Resurrection stuff. I had not checked that out either. Yeah, so, I don't know, not necessarily a keeper for me. I would rather, again, have the Omnis that collect those original series as opposed to like this type of a compilation book, but, different strokes for different folks. So, Tyler Kirkham and Stepan Sejic cover, Mike Mayhew, Ariel Olivetti, more Scotty Young. Bunch of covers on the back here. Dang, that's dope, man. Sarah Pacelli and Justin Ponzer. All those AVX variants. Oh, here is the Jim Lee. That's the direct market variant. Pretty dope. Art Germ. Yeah, that would have been a great cover, too. The Art Germ cover. And Hyuk Lee cover. And there you have it. All right, everybody, thanks for checking out the haul. Let me know which one of these did you pick up or planning to pick up in the comments down below. As always, I appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.